I got up this morning and I thought to myself, what is better than on a cold, wintry morning like today than some homemade biscuits and gravy? So that's how we're going to get down this morning. I've already started here with my basics, and so I'm just going to do a basic biscuit here, butter biscuit. I've got about 8 tablespoons of butter. I've already gotten started. 2 cups of flour, about a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of baking powder. I also have a little sugar in there for a little sweet. And so what I've done is I've cut in the butter into the flour. And so what you want to do there is you could use a knife. You can use a couple of butter knives as well. But I've just basically cut the butter into my dry ingredients. And you just want to process that or manage that until you get something that has a consistency of cornmeal. You basically want to cut the butter into the flour and into your dry ingredients, I should say, because it's not just flour in there. And once you've got that to the right consistency, you want to add your milk. And what I'm going to do though is I'm going to turn my 2% into buttermilk for the added flavor. All right, so what we're going to do now is prep our sausage gravy while my buttermilk, or rather while my milk is turning into buttermilk. So I've got some basic Owens country sausage. It obviously doesn't have to be Owens ain't a sponsor yet. So I got some sausage here, and I'm going to just brown this sausage, get that going while my buttermilk is working, and then we will come back. All right, so at this point, I'm going to remove my sausage. So I actually like my sausage to be a little chunky. I like my sausage gravy to be a little chunky when I'm, And it's also just a little bit, there's a few pieces in there that are a little bit underdone. That's okay. When I make my gravy, that'll come back up to temp and get all those pieces cooked. Now I'm gonna leave that sausage fat in the pan, and that's gonna be the base for my gravy. So I may actually just add just a little bit of butter in there to get a roux going. Leave that sausage gravy fat or that sausage fat in there to make my gravy. All right. So what I've got going there is about a tablespoon of butter that we've added to our pan where our sausage was. Let me get some flour here. I'm just going to add a little flour. I'm going to call that a quarter cup. You know what? I think we might need more than that. We're going to need a half cup. Half a cup of flour for the amount of biscuits that we are making. And like I said, I'm just going to let that work. Let that brown. And I'm using low heat. You notice I got my cast iron skillet out for this bad boy. The Cast iron skillet does a wonderful job of conducting heat. So I get a nice even temperature going in my pan. And so that's what you want. Incorporate some water. Some water. And some milk. Because I want my gravy to be creamy. Somebody calling Saturday morning. So what I did there was I did about 3/4 cup of water, and then also 3/4 cup of milk. And again, that's just so that I can have a nice, creamy, velvety gravy. And you notice I haven't put any seasoning in there. Check it out. Does need a little something. Need a little salt. Just a tad. Call that a teaspoon of salt. Remember, our sausage is going to add a lot of flavor once we get in, so you don't want the gravy to be overly seasoned. And there you have it. You got your cream gravy. Put our sausage back in there. Hi-ya! Actually, I'm not going to put it all in there because I didn't make I want to have the right balance of gravy and sausage, you know. I don't want to just for it to just be sausage. Well, that is some sausage heavy gravy right there. Let's see. You know, I hate to say, you know, I just, you know, oh, it's good. Okay, next step is to mix our dry ingredients with the liquid ingredients and begin to make our biscuits. So we let the milk sit for about 5 minutes so that the vinegar and the milk could actually turn this into buttermilk. So now we're going to have a buttermilk biscuit. And we're just going to get that in there and start to incorporate that. And I'm going to stir it at first. Just kind of blend it, fold it in rather. But once I got this incorporated, I'm going to have to get in there with my hands and actually knead it. All right, and I think we're there. So incorporated, and we're going to start the kneading process. On my surface here. Now that's where the magic happens, right here. So I'm just going to knead that just a little bit. See, that's what happens when you live with a pastry chef. All right, that's it. I'm not going to mess with that too much because I don't want my biscuits to be tough. You don't want to over knead it. So from here, I'm going to cut my biscuits out. Butter yourself a pan I'm using my trusty toaster oven. And so I broke it out my trusty biscuit cutter. Bam. And you can see this particular recipe didn't yield that many biscuits. It doesn't have to for us. You know, it's just Michelle and I this morning. So we only need 4 or 5 biscuits. The Pac-Man biscuit right there. And this last bad boy I just formed with my hand. Want to hear it? Here it go. There you go. All right, so we're ready to pop them into the oven. We've got fresh made biscuits. We need to pop these in the oven at 425 for about 10 to 12 minutes, and we'll be ready to get down. All right? Ooh, look at that. Look at Pac-Man. All right. So now, get one of these puppies off. See what we got. Get this guy back here in the back. Oh, that's what you want. Woo! Get a little bit of this gravy. Hit him with the gravy. See what we got. Homemade biscuits and gravy. I can't even talk because I got a mouthful of starchy goodness right now. As you saw, this was not a diet-friendly recipe. You know, this had all of the fat, all of the grease, all of the goodness in there. But this is not something that you do every day, okay? This is a splurge. We did this today because it was so cold out. It was one of those wintry days where you wanted something warm and some comfort food. And so that's what we got this morning, is homemade biscuits and gravy. Notice I left the other side available for some butter and some jelly. So if you want the contrast, get a little salty sweet going on, that's why I left the other side naked, because I'm going to put some butter and jelly on that other side. All right? We'll see you next time.
Very boy. You having a good time? Yes, you having a good time. Huh? You dropped your phone? Oh shoot, where?
I got a couple calling me.
You didn't come out with us?
Yes, I did.
You were making a snowball.
Snowball stuck to my window. Big fly.
Is it your work phone?
Yes.
Oh shoot.